The lawyer's voice was steady, but Emma Hayes felt the room tilt. Her stepmother received the house in Boston, her half-brother, the stocks, the cars, the accounts. Emma received a house she had never heard of, a place called Millbrook. No address, just directions, end of a dirt road, past the Western Hill, and a condition she must stay there for 7 days. No changes, no selling, no leaving before the week was done. If she broke the rule, the house would go to charity. Her stepmother's face showed nothing. Her half-brother smirked. The lawyer folded his papers and looked away. Emma sat frozen, holding a single piece of paper directions to a place her father had never mentioned, a place he had chosen to give her, and only her. But why? If you're listening today, I'd love to know where you're joining from. Drop a comment and say hello. And if you've been enjoying these stories without subscribing yet, I'd be grateful if you'd consider it. It truly helps this little channel keep going. The highway thinned to 2 lanes somewhere past Worcester, then 1, then gravel. Emma's phone lost signal 40 minutes ago. The GPS showed a blinking dot frozen. Over gray, nothing. She followed the lawyer's handwritten directions instead, the ones that had arrived by text from an unknown number the night before. She pulled into a gas station. 2 pumps, a shack with a faded Pepsi sign. The bell above the door clunked when she pushed it open. Behind the counter, a man in a flannel shirt looked up, 70, maybe older, hands thick and cracked. "Looking for the Hayes place," Emma said. "End of the road, past the West Hill." The man studied her face. Not suspicious. Something else. "Daniel Hayes." Her throat tightened. "You knew him. Fixed my water pump last spring. Wouldn't take money for it." He pointed through the dirty window. "Straight on. You'll see." Emma waited. He seemed like he wanted to say more. He didn't. The dirt road rattled her teeth. Grass grew tall on both sides, waist high, gold and dead. No houses, no mailboxes. Just the road and the sky and the crunch of gravel under tires. Then the hill crested. There it was. Smaller than she imagined. Gray wood. Weathered past any memory of paint. The roof sagged in the middle like a tired spine. 2 chairs on the porch, one with a broken leg. Tilted against the railing. Emma killed the engine. Sat there, her hands stayed on the wheel. This was what he chose. This broken place in the middle of nowhere. Instead of her. Her boots hit the porch. The wood groaned beneath her weight. She pushed the door. Nothing. Pushed harder. Still nothing. "Pull. Not push." She spun around. An old man stood at the bottom of the steps, flannel shirt, bucket in hand, white hair catching the afternoon light. He hadn't made a sound coming up. "Your daddy took 3 months to remember that." His eyes creased at the corners. "Stubborn as each other. I reckon. You're Henry? Live over the hill?" He tilted his head toward the rise. "Half-mile or so." Emma's hand stayed on the door. "What was he like?" "My father." Henry looked at her. A long look. Measuring something she couldn't see. "Made the worst coffee I ever tasted." He turned to leave. "Drank it with him every morning anyway?" He walked off without another word. No explanation, no goodbye. Emma pulled the door. It swung open with a soft creak. Inside dust floating in slanted light. The smell of old wood and something else, coffee. Faint, like a ghost of habit. Everything was still, but not the stillness of abandonment. The stillness of waiting. The sofa smelled like dust and old wool. Emma lay on her back, staring at the ceiling. A water stain spread above her head, shaped like a hand. Or maybe a map of somewhere she had never been. Sleep would not come. The house creaked around her. Not frightening, just old. Joints settling. Wood contracting in the cold October air. Like an old man shifting in his chair. She got up. The floor was cold through her socks. She turned on her phone's flashlight and walked. The kitchen first. She opened a cabinet. Plates stacked by size. Largest at the bottom. Bowls nested inside each other. 2 mugs, only. 2 handles facing the same direction. She opened a drawer. Forks on the left. Knives in the middle. Spoons on the right. Each in its slot. No clutter. No junk drawer chaos. Someone had lived here carefully. Like every object mattered. The living room next. Books on a shelf. Arranged by height. A small radio on the windowsill. Antenna still extended. A blanket folded on the armchair. Not thrown. Folded. Corners matching. In the corner, behind a stack of yellowed newspapers, something caught the light. A picture frame. Face down. Emma reached for it. Her fingers touched the wooden edge. She stopped. Not yet. She left it where it was. Morning came gray and cold. Emma woke to her phone buzzing against her chest. She had fallen asleep on the sofa after all. Her neck ached. Her back protested. The screen showed 7:32. Victoria's name. She answered. You actually slept there. Victoria's voice was sharp. Awake? Probably had been for hours. The will said 7 days. Emma, a pause. The sound of a cup being set down on a hard surface. I understand you want closure. I do. But I have a buyer interested. Good price. Emma sat up. The blanket she did not remember pulling over herself fell on the floor. How much? 40,000. The number hung in the air. $40,000? More than she made in 2 years at the bookstore. More than she had in savings. You don't have to suffer in that place. Victoria's voice softened. Not warm. Strategic. Sell it when the week is done. Take the money. Start over somewhere that makes sense. Emma looked around the room. Dust floating in the morning light. Cold air seeping through cracks in the window frame. I'll think about it. Don't think too long. Buyers don't wait forever. The line went dead. Emma dropped the phone on the sofa cushion. $40,000? A number that could change things. Pay off her credit card. Get a better apartment. Leave Boston entirely if she wanted. All she had to do was wait out the week and walk away. The kitchen looked different in daylight. Less foreign. Just small and old, like kitchens in movies from her grandmother's time. She opened the cabinet above the stove. A tin of coffee, half full. The label faded. Beside it, a single mug with a chip on the rim. On the white ceramic, brown stain inside from years of use. She put water on to boil using the old gas stove, found the coffee, measured 2 spoonfuls, poured. The first sip burned her tongue. The second made her wince. Bitter, wrong. Then she saw it, a small piece of paper, taped inside the cabinet door, yellowed with age, handwritten, 1 spoon, not 2. Don't ask why. Emma read it twice. A laugh escaped her, sudden, unexpected. The first sound she had made in this house that was not a question or a sigh. She made another cup, 1 spoon, still bitter, but drinkable. She used the chipped mug, the only one that seemed used. The bedroom took most of the morning to air out. Emma opened both windows, letting the October air push through. The mattress was damp. She would sleep on the sofa again tonight, but the room itself was clean underneath the mustiness. Under the bed, her hand touched wood. A box, small, like a shoebox, tied with twine, knotted tight. She pulled it out, sat on the floor with it in her lap. The twine was old, frayed at the edges. She had to use scissors from the kitchen drawer, 3rd slot from the left, exactly where she somehow expected them to be. Inside the box papers, handwritten on lined notebook paper, no envelopes, no stamps, never sent. She picked up the first one. Dear daughter, the sun was good today. I fixed the fence by the oak tree. I thought you might like this place. It is quiet. There is a hill that turns gold in October. I wanted to write you for a long time. Never knew what to say. No signature, no date. She reached for another. Dear daughter, it is your birthday, 22. I bought you a blue scarf, the color of your eyes when you were small. I did not send it. I did not know if you would want anything from me. Emma's hands were shaking. She did not notice until a letter slipped from her fingers and drifted to the floor. She picked up another. Another. They were all the same, all starting with Dear Daughter. All ending without a signature. All never sent. Then she found the notebook. Small. Leather cover. Worn soft from handling. She opened it. Dates in one column. Weather in another. October 3rd. Sunny. Fixed the roof. October 4th. Rain. Read inside. October 5th. Cold. Miss my daughter. She turned the page. October 12th. Clear sky. Miss my daughter. October 20th. Wind. Miss my daughter. The words repeated, not every day, but often. Scattered through weeks and months like a heartbeat she had never heard. November 15th. First snow. Miss my daughter. December 24th. Quiet. Miss my daughter. January 1st. Miss my daughter. Emma closed the notebook. Her chest hurt. Not the sharp pain of grief, something duller, older, harder to name. He had thought of her, written to her, missed her, but he never called, never sent the letters, never came. Why, the question filled the small room. Outside, the wind picked up. The oak tree scratched against the window like fingers asking to come in. If he missed her, if he wrote her name in a notebook, like it was the only prayer he knew, why did he leave her alone for 20 years? The picture frame was lighter than she expected. Wood, old, the grain rough under her fingers. Emma turned it over. A crack ran across the glass diagonal, from corner to corner. But the photograph underneath was intact. A little girl, maybe 5 years old, dark hair, serious eyes, held in the arms of a man with the same eyes, both squinting against the sun, both smiling. She did not remember this photograph, did not remember the day, did not remember him holding her like that, but he had kept it, face down, hidden, but kept. Emma set the frame on the shelf, did not look at it again. Day 3. The coffee was getting easier to make. 1 spoon. Let it steep. Do not expect miracles. She was sitting on the porch, chipped mug in her hands, when she heard footsteps on the gravel path. Henry came up slow. Same unhurried walk. Different flannel shirt, green today instead of blue. In his hands, a small wire basket. Chickens are laying too much, he said. He set the basket on the porch step. 6 eggs, brown and speckled. Can't eat them all myself. Emma looked at the eggs, then at him. You don't have to. I know. He stayed at the bottom of the steps, hands in his pockets now. Your daddy said the same thing every time. Took them anyway. She picked up the basket. The eggs were still warm from the nest. Come in. I made coffee. Henry shook his head. I'll drink out here, if that's all right. She brought him a cup, the other mug, the one without the chip. He took it, lowered himself onto the top step, back against the porch railing. She sat in the chair, the one with the worn armrests, the one that fit her somehow, like it had been waiting. Henry sipped. His weathered face twitched. Still bad, he said. But better than his was. Emma almost smiled. High praise. Silence settled between them. Not uncomfortable. The kind of silence between people who did not need to fill every space with words. A bird called somewhere in the oak tree. The wind moved through dry grass, making it whisper. The sun climbed higher, pale and thin through the October haze. What was he like? Emma asked. Living out here, I mean. Henry did not answer right away. He looked out at the hill, the yellow grass, the empty road that led to nowhere and everywhere. Quiet, he said finally. Fix things, read a lot, didn't talk much. But when he did, he meant it. Did he ever mention family? Henry's eyes moved to her face, then away, back to the horizon. Once. He drank his coffee slowly, set the cup down on the step beside him, found him sitting right where you are now, holding a little picture, black and white, old-looking. Couldn't see it clear from where I stood, but there was a girl in it. Emma's throat tightened. She looked down at her hands wrapped around the mug. He didn't say nothing about it, Henry continued, his voice low and steady. Just sat there holding it. Long time. I went home. Didn't feel right to interrupt. The oak tree creaked in the wind. A branch scraped against the side of the house. Did he seem happy here? Emma asked. Henry considered the question like it had weight, like it deserved careful thought before answering. Don't know about happy, he said, But he wasn't running no more. First time I met him, he had this look about him like a man who'd been going too fast for too long and finally stopped. Didn't quite know what to do with the stillness yet. When did that change? Never did change. Not exactly. Henry pushed himself up from the step. His joints cracked. He picked up his empty cup, set it on the railing. He just got used to it, I reckon. Some folks, they gotta learn how to sit still. Takes time, takes patience. He had plenty of both. Toward the end, Henry started down the steps. Then he stopped, one hand on the railing, and turned back. He sat out here every evening, he said. Same chair you're in now. Same time every day. Right before sunset. Doing what? Henry looked at her. That same long look from the first day. Measuring something she could not see. Waiting. The word hung in the air. Emma opened her mouth to ask, waiting for what? Waiting for who? But Henry was already walking away. Down the path. Toward the hill. His shadow stretching long behind him in the morning light. She watched until he disappeared over the rise. Waiting? The eggs were good. She scrambled them on the old gas stove, ate them standing at the counter. The yolks were darker than store-bought, almost orange. She washed the plate, the single plate, put it back where she found it. The letters were still spread across the bedroom floor. She had left them there last night, too tired to gather them, too unsettled to read more. Now she knelt beside them. Dear daughter, it is raining today. The roof leaks in the corner by the window. I should fix it. Maybe tomorrow. Today I just want to sit and listen to the rain and think about you. She set it aside. Picked up another. Dear daughter, I saw a girl at the store in town today. Dark hair like yours. For a second I thought, but it was not you. Of course it was not. You are in Boston. You have your own life now. I hope it is a good one. And another. Dear daughter, 25 today. I bought candles. Did not light them. Seemed foolish to sing to an empty room, but I thought about you blowing them out. Thought about what you might wish for. The afternoon light shifted through the window. Grew gold. Then orange. Emma did not notice. Letter after letter. Year after year. Birthdays and holidays and ordinary days. All written to her. None ever sent. I wanted to call. One said, picked up the phone, put it down. What would I say? I do not know how to be your father anymore. Maybe I never did. The last letter in the pile was different, shorter. The handwriting shakier than the others. Dear daughter, I am tired today. More tired than usual. If you are reading this, I suppose the lawyers found you. I suppose you are in this house now, wondering what I was thinking. I do not know if I can explain. But I wanted you to have this place. The only place I ever felt like myself. The only thing I have that is not ruined. The rest is up to you. No signature, no date, no explanation. Emma sat back on her heels. Outside, the sun was setting. Orange light poured through the window, catching the dust, making it glow, waiting. Henry had said, sitting in that chair, Every evening, looking toward the road. Was he waiting for her? The phone rang at 6 in the morning. Emma's eyes opened to gray light. The sofa springs dug into her ribs. 4 nights now. 4 nights on this sofa, in this house, in this life that was not hers. Victoria's name on the screen. She answered. Have you thought about it? No greeting, no warmth, just the question, sharp and direct. Emma sat up. The blanket fell to the floor. I'm still here. I know you're still there. A sound in the background, a cup against a saucer, the click of heels on tile. That's what worries me. I found letters. Silence on the line. Then, letters. He wrote to me every week, sometimes more. Birthdays, holidays, just ordinary days, and he never sent them. Victoria laughed, short, dry. That sounds like Daniel. All that feeling locked up inside, never doing anything with it. Emma's jaw tightened. He thought about me. Thinking isn't doing. Emma, Victoria's voice dropped. Almost gentle now. I lived with your father for 12 years. He thought about a lot of things. Never followed through. Never showed up when it mattered. Just sat in that head of his, making plans that never happened. That's not, isn't it? The gentleness disappeared. Where was he for your graduation, your first job, your 21st birthday? He was thinking about you, apparently, writing you letters. And where were those letters? In a box, under a bed, in a house you didn't even know existed. Emma could not answer. Her mouth was dry. Love in his own way, Victoria continued. That's what people say about men like Daniel. But what does that mean? Really, love that never reaches you. Love that sits in a drawer. A pause. That's just guilt. Emma. Nothing more. The line went dead. Emma sat in the silence. The house creaked around her. Outside, a crow called once, twice, then went quiet. She's wrong. But the voice in her head was weak, uncertain. Is she? The search started in the bedroom. Emma pulled the mattress off the frame, checked the wooden slats underneath, checked the corners where dust had gathered, knocked on the wood, listening for hollow spaces. Nothing. She moved to the closet. 3 shirts on wire hangers, 2 pairs of work pants, a jacket with patched elbows. She checked every pocket, found a receipt from a hardware store dated 3 years ago, a stub of pencil, a button that matched nothing, nothing that mattered. The living room next. She pulled books from the shelf one by one, shook them, watched pages flutter. No hidden envelopes, no secret documents, just words and dust and on the smell of paper going yellow. She lifted the rug, solid floor beneath. She pressed on floorboards, looking for loose ones. Found 2 near the window, pried them up with a kitchen knife. Dirt, spider webs, a dead beetle curled on its back. Nothing. The kitchen took over an hour. Every cabinet, every drawer. She found tools, matches, candles, a tin of buttons, 3 flashlight batteries, a ball of twine, things a man living alone would need, things that meant nothing to anyone else. No money, no deeds, no hidden accounts, no explanation. She stood in the middle of the kitchen, hands dirty, sweat cooling on her forehead despite the cold. The house was empty. Not empty of things. It was full of things. Full of evidence of a life carefully lived, but empty of anything that mattered. Anything that could prove he loved her with more than words, that never left this place. He wrote to me every week, but he never mailed a single letter. He bought me a birthday scarf, but he never sent it. He watched the road every evening, but he never came to find me. Emma sank to the floor. The linoleum was cold through her jeans, her back pressed against the cabinet door. 20 years. She was 5 when he left, or when he let Victoria take over, or when he stopped being her father and started being a man who thought about her from a distance. The details did not matter anymore. The result was the same. 20 years of birthdays alone. 20 years of wondering what she had done wrong. 20 years of watching other girls with their fathers and feeling that hollow space in her chest where something should have been. And now this. A house full of letters that never arrived. A notebook full of longing that never became action. Love that stayed locked in a drawer until someone else had to find it. Victoria's right. The thought came unbidden, unwanted, but heavy with truth. Thinking isn't doing, writing isn't reaching out. He loved me on paper, and paper doesn't keep you warm at night. The sun was setting by the time she moved. Her legs had gone numb from sitting. She stood slowly, holding the counter for balance. The kitchen was a mess, drawers open, contents scattered. The careful order destroyed by her desperate searching. She should clean it, put everything back, restore the neatness her father had maintained for all those years alone. She did not. She walked to the bedroom instead. The letters were still in the box where she had put them the night before. She looked at them, did not touch them. Dear daughter, all those letters, all those words, and not one of them had ever reached her. What was the point? She could not answer, could not find a reason that made sense. The blue scarf, the one he mentioned in one of the letters, the one the color of her eyes. She had not found it anywhere. Maybe it never existed. Maybe it was just another thing he thought about and never did. Emma sat on the edge of the bed. The springs groaned under her weight. Outside, the last light was fading, turning the grass gold, then gray. Tomorrow was day 5. 2 more days after that. $40,000. A number that could change things. Pay off debts. Start fresh. Leave this house and everything in it to rot back into the hill. Is that what he wanted? For me to come here and find closure, understanding? Or did he just want someone to read his letters, someone to know he had been sorry? Even if sorry came too late, she did not know, could not know. The dead do not explain themselves. The window rattled, wind picking up outside. The oak tree swayed, branches scraping against the glass like fingers asking to come in. Emma looked at the box of letters, the notebook, the empty room full of things that told her nothing she needed to hear. He left me a house full of apologies. But apologies don't fix anything. They just make the person saying them feel better. She stood. Her legs were steadier now. Her mind clearer than it had been in days. Tomorrow, she would call Victoria, accept the offer, sign whatever needed signing, take the money, and go back to a life that made sense. This place, the letters, the chair, the waiting, it was his story, not hers. She was done looking for something that was not there. The bundle was heavier than it looked. Emma stood in the doorway, rain falling in sheets behind Henry's retreating figure. He walked into the storm like it was not there, shoulders hunched, hat dripping. He did not look back. She looked down at her hands, cloth, old and worn soft, wrapped tight around something solid, the size of her palm, the weight of a stone. When you open this, you'll understand why he couldn't. The rain hammered the roof. Water ran off the eaves in a curtain. The oak tree bent in the wind. Branches scraping against the house like they wanted inside. Emma stepped back, closed the door. The sound of the storm muffled, but did not stop. She set the bundle on the kitchen table, stared at it. Her bag was already packed, half-packed, clothes thrown in, not folded. Her car keys sat on the counter, her phone on the sofa. Victoria's number still glowing in the recent calls. $40,000. She could pick up that phone right now, confirm the sale, drive away before dawn. Let someone else deal with the leaking roof and the creaking floors and the letters that never arrived. The bundle sat on the table, waiting. He knew you'd want to run. The words burned because they were true. Because she was standing here with her bag packed and her keys ready, and every intention of doing exactly that. Running like he did, or something different. Emma pulled out a chair. The legs scraped against the floor. She sat down. The bundle was right there, 3 feet away, close enough to touch. She did not touch it. The storm did not let up. Night fell early, the sky going from gray to black without bothering with sunset. Emma turned on the single bulb in the kitchen. It swung slightly from the wind, pushing through cracks in the walls, casting moving shadows across the table. She made coffee. 1 spoon, did not drink it, just held the chipped mug and stared at the bundle on the table. Why couldn't you reach me? The question she had asked in every version. In the letters, in the notebook, in the empty spaces of this house where a father should have been. He had written her name, missed her, thought about her every day, and never once picked up the phone. When you open this, you'll understand why he couldn't, not wouldn't, couldn't. What was the difference? Emma set down the mug, reached for the bundle. Her fingers touched the cloth rough, like canvas, like something that had been used and washed and used again over many years. She pulled her hand back. Not yet. The phone rang at 9. Victoria's name. Emma looked at it. Let it ring. Once, twice, 3 times. She answered. Did you decide? Emma looked at the bundle. No. No, you didn't decide. Or no, you won't sell. I don't know yet. A pause. Emma could picture Victoria's face, the careful patience, the calculation behind her eyes. Emma, I'm trying to help you here. That house is a burden. Your father's last gift to you was a burden. Don't you see that maybe there's nothing there for you, nothing but on old letters and old guilt and a man who didn't know how to love properly? Victoria's voice softened. Take the money, build something new, something that's actually yours. The bundle on the table, the storm outside, the empty chair on the porch where her father had sat every evening, watching the road, waiting. I'll call you tomorrow, Emma said. Tomorrow is day 6. The buyer won't. Emma hung up. She sat on the porch. The rain had eased to a drizzle. The wind had died down. The night was cold and wet and empty. She sat in his chair. The wood was damp beneath her. The bundle was in her lap now, still wrapped. He sat here every evening. Same chair, same time, waiting. For what? The answer came slow, like something surfacing from deep water. For me, he sat here and watched the road for 8 years, every evening, waiting for a car that might come, a daughter who might arrive, but I never came. The thought cut deep, deeper than the cold, deeper than the rain. I never came because I didn't know. I didn't know he was here. I didn't know he was waiting. But he knew. He knew I wasn't coming. And he waited anyway. Emma looked down at the bundle in her lap. The cloth was damp from her hands, from the rain dripping off the roof. Whatever was inside was still dry, wrapped tight against the weather. When you open this, you'll understand why he couldn't. She could open it now, right now. Find out what secret he had kept, what reason he had for all those years of silence. Or she could leave, get in the car, drive south through the rain. Call Victoria in the morning, take the money, and forget. $40,000, a new apartment, a fresh start. But she would always wonder. The bundle would sit in her memory like a stone in a river, changing the current of everything that flowed past it. He knew I'd want to run. He knew, and he prepared for it. Not to stop me, just to make sure I had a choice. The oak tree dripped. A crow called somewhere in the darkness. The house creaked behind her. Settling into the cold night, Emma did not move. She did not open the bundle, did not go inside, did not get in her car. She just sat in his chair in the dark, holding the last thing her father had left for her, and waited. Morning came, gray and damp. Emma woke still in the chair, neck stiff, fingers numb. The bundle was clutched tight in her lap. She had not meant to fall asleep outside. The drizzle had stopped. Fog hung over the hills, thick and white, muffling every sound. She looked at the bundle. The cloth was wet now, soaked through from the night, but she could feel the shape underneath hard edges. Round face, a clock or a watch, something that measured time. She stood. Her legs ached. Her back protested. She was 32 years old and felt 70. The door was still open behind her, the kitchen lights still on, pale yellow in the morning gray. She walked inside, set the bundle on the table, sat down in the same chair as last night, and began to unwrap. The cloth fell away. A pocket watch, silver, tarnished dark in the creases, the size of a small egg, heavy in her palm. Emma turned it over. The back was smooth, except for 3 words engraved deep into the metal. Time begins here. She pressed the catch. The cover sprang open. The face was simple. White enamel. Black numbers. 2 hands frozen in place. 3. 42. The watch had stopped. Or been stopped. Years ago. By the look of the dust in the hinges, inside the cover, a slip of paper folded small. She pulled it out with trembling fingers, unfolded it. Her father's handwriting. 2 words. Ask Henry. The fog was thick outside. Emma walked through it like walking through milk. The world reduced to 10 feet in every direction. The wet grass soaked through her shoes immediately. Henry's house was half a mile over the hill. She had never been there, did not know the exact path, but she walked toward where she had seen him disappear. The watch in her jacket pocket, the note crumpled in her fist. The ground was soft from the rain. Mud sucked at her boots with every step. Twice she slipped on the wet grass, caught herself on her hands. The 3rd time, she did not catch herself. Her knee hit the ground first, then her hands, sinking into cold black mud up to her wrists. Her face stopped inches from the muck, her arms shaking, her breath coming hard. She stayed there, on all 4s, in the mud, like an animal. What am I doing? Chasing answers from a dead man, crawling through dirt for explanations that might not exist, begging for scraps of love from someone who never bothered to pick up a phone. Her arms gave out. She rolled onto her back, staring up at the white nothing of the fog. Mud soaked through her jacket, her jeans, her hair. Cold seeped into her bones. This is pathetic. I am pathetic. 32 years old, lying in the mud on a hill in the middle of nowhere, crying over a man who left her when she was 5 and never came back. She pushed herself up. Her hands were black. Her clothes were ruined. Mud caked the side of her face, gritty against her teeth when she wiped her mouth. She kept walking. Henry's house appeared through the fog like something from a dream. Small, wood-shingled, smoke rising from a chimney she could barely see. He was on the porch, sitting, waiting, like he had known she was coming. "You're a mess," he said. Emma looked down at herself. Mud on her knees, her hands, her face. Her hair was wet and tangled, plastered to her forehead. She looked like something the store had dragged in and thrown away. I fell, saw that. He did not offer to help her clean up, did not invite her inside, just sat there, watching her with those steady eyes. She pulled out the watch, held it up, mud smearing the silver. Tell me. Henry looked at the watch. Something moved behind his eyes, soft, then gone. Sit down, he said. There was another chair on the porch. Emma lowered herself into it. The wood was cold through her wet clothes. She did not care. Henry was quiet for a long time, looking out at the fog, the hills, the nothing. He showed up 8 years ago, he said finally. Middle of winter, snow on the ground. Came walking up that road with one bag and the clothes on his back. Walking, no car, no money, nothing but what he could carry. Emma tried to picture it. Her father, the man in the photographs, the man with the careful handwriting, walking through snow with nothing. What happened to him? Henry's jaw worked. Took him 3 months to tell me. We drink coffee every morning by then. Bad coffee. But he'd talk. Eventually. The fog drifted between them. Somewhere far off. A bird called. He said he'd lost himself. Henry's voice was flat, without judgment. Spent 20 years chasing money, chasing success, chasing something he couldn't even name. Made a fortune once, lost it. Made another one, lost that too. Bad investments, bad partners, bad choices. And my mother, she died when you were small. He told me that much. Said he didn't know how to raise a girl alone. Didn't know how to be a father without her. Henry looked at her. Victoria came along. Said she'd help. Said she'd take care of things. So he let her. He thought it was best for you. Henry's eyes held hers. He was wrong. He knew he was wrong. But by the time he figured that out, years had passed. You were grown. You had a life. And he'd been gone so long, he didn't know how to come back. Emma's hands were shaking. Mud flaked off her skin as she pressed them flat against her thighs. He wrote me letters. Every week. He never sent a single one. I know. Why? Henry did not answer right away. He looked out at the fog, the invisible hills, the world hidden behind white. He was scared, he said. Scared you'd hate him. Scared you'd tell him to stay away. Scared you'd see what he really was. What was he? A man who failed. No softness in the words. Just truth. Failed at marriage. Failed at money. Failed at being a father. He couldn't face you because he couldn't face himself. Not until he came here. Not until he stopped running. Henry reached into his shirt pocket, pulled out a folded paper, yellow with age. He wrote this last spring, gave it to me, said if you ever came, and if you ever asked, I should show you. Emma took it. Her fingers left mud prints on the edges. She unfolded it. I can't face her. Not like this. Not empty-handed, with nothing to offer but apologies that don't mean anything. I had one chance to be her father. I wasted it. But maybe if she ever comes here, if she sees this place, she'll understand. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I just want her to have somewhere to go. Yeah, somewhere to start over, like I did. This house is the only thing I have that isn't broken. The only place I ever felt like myself. I want her to have that. Even if she never wants to see me. The paper shook in Emma's hands. The fog was lifting now, pale sunlight breaking through. Henry pointed at the watch in her lap. 3:42, he said. The afternoon he arrived here. First day, he stopped that watch himself. Said that was when his real time started. Everything before was just running. Emma looked at the frozen hands. 3:42. He wanted you to have it, Henry said. Wanted you to know you can start over too. Anytime you want. You just have to choose. She sat there, mud drying on her hands and face, sun warming her skin through the thinning fog. He didn't abandon me. He was ashamed. Too ashamed to reach out. Too broken to face what he'd done. The thought rearranged everything. Every letter, every notebook entry, every evening on the porch, watching the road, not waiting for her to come, waiting in case she ever wanted him, and she never came. Not once in 8 years. He was waiting for me, and I never came. Day 7. Emma woke on the sofa, the watch clutched in her hand. Her fingers had cramped around it during the night. She had to pry them open one by one. 3:42. Still frozen. Still waiting. The mud on her clothes had dried to a crust. It cracked and fell in brown flakes when she moved. She had not changed last night, had not showered, had just collapsed on the sofa and slept harder than she had in years. She should clean herself up, change into something that did not smell like earth and rain. She did not move. The phone rang at 7. Victoria's name glowed on the screen. Emma stared at it, let it ring 3 times, picked it up. Last day, Victoria's voice was tight, controlled. The buyer needs an answer by noon. Emma looked around the room. The shelf with its careful books, the window with its cracked frame, the picture frame. Her picture sitting face up now on the shelf. Glass cracked, but the image whole. I'm not selling. Silence on the line. She could hear Victoria breathing, could picture her face, the careful composure cracking, the calculation behind her eyes recalibrating. Emma, softer now, concerned. You're not thinking clearly. You've been in that house for a week with nothing but old letters and guilt. It's affecting your judgment. Maybe. $40,000. Victoria's voice sharpened. Think about what that means. A new apartment, no more credit card debt, a chance to actually live instead of just surviving. Emma looked at the watch in her hand. The silver was warm from her skin. The hands pointed at 3:42, the moment her father's time began. 40,000. She could still know. I know what it means. Then why? Victoria's voice rose. Why would you choose a rotting house in the middle of nowhere over a real future? There's nothing there. Emma. Nothing but a dead man's regrets. Emma stood up, walked to the window. Outside, the fog was burning off. The hill was turning gold in the morning light. The oak tree stood tall against the pale sky. It's mine, she said. That's why it's worthless. To you, Victoria laughed. Short, sharp. To anyone with sense, it's a shack. A broken down shack left by a broken down man who couldn't even pick up a phone to call his own daughter. He gave you nothing, Emma. Even his love was nothing. Words on paper that never left a drawer. Emma's grip tightened on the phone. Her jaw ached from clenching. He loved me. He failed you. That's not the same thing. The words cut. They were meant to cut. Victoria knew exactly where to aim, but something had shifted in Emma. Something small and stubborn. The same stubbornness Henry had seen in her father. He failed, Emma said. I know that, but he never stopped trying. Even when he couldn't reach me, he kept writing, kept waiting, kept hoping I'd come. And that's enough for you. Hope. Emma thought about it. Really thought. The letters, the notebook, the chair on the porch, worn smooth from years of sitting. The watch stopped at the moment he chose to begin again. I don't know yet, she said, but I'm going to find out. Emma, I'm not selling. Not today. Not tomorrow. Maybe not ever. She could hear Victoria's frustration through the phone, the careful control slipping away. You're making a mistake. Maybe. But it's my mistake to make. You'll regret this. Probably. Emma looked out at the hill, the road, the sky turning blue. But I'll regret it here, in my house. She hung up. The porch was still damp from the night's rain. Emma sat in the chair, anyway his chair. Her chair now. The wood was cold through her mud-stained jeans. She did not care. The watch was in her pocket, pressing against her thigh. 3:42. The moment everything started over. The sun climbed higher. The fog dissolved into nothing. The hills emerged, gold and green, stretching toward a horizon she had never seen before this week. She did not move. Somewhere behind her, the house creaked, settling, breathing, living in its slow, old way. He sat here every evening, watching the road, waiting for a car that might come, a daughter who might arrive. And now I'm here. Too late. 8 years too late. He had died in this house, alone. Still waiting for someone who never came. But she was here now. The thought settled in her chest. Not happy, not sad, just true. She was here, in his chair, looking at his view, holding his watch, and for the first time in a week, she did not want to leave. Henry appeared around noon. He came over the hill slow, hands in his pockets, same unhurried walk. He stopped at the bottom of the porch steps, looked at her sitting in the chair, looked at the dried mud still caked on her clothes. Still here, he said. Still here, he nodded once, like he had expected nothing less. What now? Emma looked at the house behind her, the sagging roof, the cracked windows, the porch railing that wobbled when you touched it. Stay. I reckon. The word felt strange in her mouth. Old-fashioned. Right. Fix what needs fixing. That's a lot of fixing. I know. Henry studied her face for a long moment. Then he looked out at the hills, the road, the sky turning afternoon blue. Your daddy asked me once, he said. Asked what I thought he should do. About you. I mean, whether he should reach out. Emma's breath caught. What did you tell him? Told him I wasn't the one to ask. Henry's voice was flat, matter of fact. Told him only he could know that. And he said he wasn't ready. Said maybe he'd never be ready. But he wanted to be here. just in case. The wind picked up. It smelled like grass and rain and wood smoke from somewhere far away. He never got ready, Emma said quietly. No, Henry shook his head. But you're here anyway. He turned to go, then stopped, 1 foot on the path. What are you gonna do with this place? He asked. Emma looked at the house, her house now, broken and old and full of ghosts she was only beginning to understand. Live in it, she said. Henry nodded once, did not smile, did not say anything more. Just one word. Quiet. Almost lost in the wind. Good. Then he walked away, back over the hill, until the grass swallowed him whole. Emma sat in the chair until the sun was high overhead. Then she stood. Her legs were stiff. Her back ached. Her clothes were still caked with yesterday's mud. She walked inside, looked around. The kitchen was still a mess from her searching. Drawers open, contents scattered. The careful order her father had maintained for 8 years, destroyed in a single afternoon of desperation. But it was hers now. She rolled up her sleeves, found the broom in the closet, and started to sweep. 6 weeks later, Emma's hands had calluses. She stood on the porch, looking at the steps she had just finished. New wood sat next to old different colors, different grains, but fitted tight. The old boards had rotted through in the middle. She had pulled them up herself, measured twice, cut once, nailed them down. The man at the hardware store had shown her how. Watched her practice on a scrap piece until she got it right. Did not charge her for the lesson. The hammer was still in her hand. Sweat cooled on her forehead, despite the November chill. Her shoulders ached from the work, but the step was solid now. It would not creak, would not give, would hold. She set the hammer down on the railing, walked inside. The kitchen was clean. She had scrubbed it top to bottom that first week after deciding to stay every cabinet, every drawer, every corner where dust had gathered for years. The coffee tin sat on the counter, half empty now. She would have to drive to town soon, buy more. 1 spoon, hot water, let it steep. The chipped mug felt familiar in her hands now. The crack ran along the rim like a scar. She had thought about replacing it once, standing in the aisle at the general store in town. Decided not to. Some things did not need to be fixed, just used. She carried the coffee to the porch, sat in the chair, his chair, her chair now, and watched the morning climb over the hill. The grass had turned brown since the first frost. The oak tree was nearly bare, just a few stubborn leaves clinging to the highest branches. The road stretched away, dirt and gravel, disappearing over the rise. No cars, no sounds except birds and wind and the house settling behind her. Emma drank her coffee. It was still bitter. She had stopped minding weeks ago. Henry came by around 10. She saw him cresting the hill. Same slow walk. Same flannel shirt, heavier now. Wool-lined for the cold. He had a paper bag in one hand. When he reached the porch, he held it up. Apples, he said. Tree out back and went crazy this year. Can't eat them all. Emma took the bag. 6 apples, red and firm, cool from the morning air. Thanks. Henry looked at the new step, nodded once, did not say anything about it. She went inside, came back with 2 mugs, handed him one. He took it, lowered himself onto the top step, back against the railing. They drank in silence. The sun climbed higher, shadows shortened. A crow called from the oak tree, sharp and loud, then went quiet. "You've been busy," Henry said finally. "Some. Fixed the step. Needed fixing." He nodded, drank his coffee, did not comment on the taste. "What's next?" Emma looked at the house. The roof still sagged. The windows still leaked when the wind blew hard. The whole place needed paint. New gutters, probably new wiring before winter really set in. Roof, I think, before the snow comes. That's a big job. I know. Henry set his mug down, stood. His joints cracked in the cold air. "I know a fellow in town," he said. "Does roofing, fair prices, takes payments if money's tight." "Money's tight." "Figured." Henry started down the path. "Your daddy hired him once. Fixed the shed out back. Paid him in firewood and bad coffee." Emma almost smiled. "The coffee was that bad. Worse than yours." Henry walked away. "I'll send him by next week." She watched him go, over the hill, into the brown grass. Gone. The afternoon passed slow and quiet. Emma worked on the railing next. One of the posts had come loose, wobbling when you leaned against it. She dug around the base with a shovel, found the concrete crumbling away, mixed new concrete in a bucket she had bought in town, packed it in tight, braced the post with scrap wood until it set. The sun moved across the sky. Her shadow lengthened, shortened, lengthened again. When the concrete was firm enough, she went inside, washed her hands in the kitchen sink. The water ran brown with dirt, then clear. The picture frame was still on the shelf where she had put it weeks ago, face up now. The crack in the glass caught the afternoon light. Emma picked it up, looked at it. A little girl with dark hair, serious eyes, held in the arms of a man who looked tired but happy. She did not remember the day, did not remember his arms around her, his smile, the sun in their eyes. But he had kept this picture for years, hidden but kept. And now it was face up, on her shelf, in her house. She set it back down, did not dust the frame, did not wipe the glass, just let it sit there where she could see it. Evening came gold and quiet. Emma sat on the porch with the last of her coffee, gone cold in the mug. The sun was low, casting long shadows across the brown grass. The oak tree stood black against the orange sky. The watch was in her pocket. She took it out, held it in her palm. 3:42. Still stopped, still waiting. Time begins here. She thought about her father, sitting in this same chair, looking at this same view, watching the road every evening for 8 years, waiting for someone who never came, and then dying alone. Still waiting. The thought used to hurt. Now it just sat there, quiet and heavy, like a stone she had learned to carry. He had chosen this place, chosen to stay, chosen to wait. And now she was choosing too. Not because she had to. The 7 days were long past. She could leave any time, sell the house for whatever it would bring. Go back to Boston or anywhere else. But she did not want to. This house, this porch, this view, it was not much. Broken in places, old in others, full of silence and memories and things that would never be fixed. But it was hers, not because he gave it to her, because she chose to stay. The sun set. Emma watched the colors change gold to orange to red to purple. The sky darkened. Stars appeared, one by one. Then and all at once, the air grew cold. She pulled her jacket tighter, did not go inside. The watch was warm in her hand. 3:42. The moment her father's time began, she did not wind it, did not try to restart it. That was not the point. The point was the choice. The moment you decide to stop running and start staying, the moment you plant yourself somewhere and say, "This is where I belong." Her father had found that moment here, in this house, on this porch, at 3:42 on a winter afternoon 8 years ago. And now she had found it too. Not at 3:42, not on any particular day. Just slowly. Over weeks of sweeping and hammering and drinking bad coffee and watching the sun rise over the same hill. I belong here. The thought was quiet, no fanfare, just a fact. Settling into her bones like the cold settling into the November air. She belonged here. Not because anyone had chosen her, not because anyone had asked her to stay, because she had chosen herself. The night deepened. Emma stayed on the porch until her coffee was frozen in the mug and the stars were thick overhead. Then she stood. Her legs were stiff. Her back ached. She walked inside, set the mug in the sink, turned off the kitchen light. Tomorrow she would call about the roof. Next week, maybe start on the windows. The house needed months of work, maybe years, but she had time. She lay down on the sofa, pulled the blanket over herself, the same blanket from that first night when everything was strange and cold and full of questions. Some questions were still there. Some would never be answered. That was all right. She closed her eyes. The house creaked around her, settling into the cold night. Outside, the oak tree stood silent against the stars. The road stretched empty toward the hill. The porch waited, solid now, ready for morning, and Emma slept. In her house, in her place, home. Sometimes a story leaves us quiet, not sad, exactly, just still. The way a room feels after someone has left it. The way a name sits heavy in our chest when we have not spoken it in years. Many of us have carried something like this. A letter we never sent. A phone call we never made. A person we loved from a distance, hoping somehow they knew. Some of us have been the one waiting. Some of us have been the one who never came. Perhaps you have been both. We do not always get to fix what is broken. We do not always arrive in time. The people we love do not always know how much, and sometimes neither do we, until they are gone. That is all right. Not everything needs to be resolved. Some things are allowed to stay tender. Some questions are allowed to rest without answers. We can set them down now, gently, the way Emma set down that watch. Not because we have found peace, just because we are tired of holding on so tight. Thank you for being here. Thank you for staying until the end.